Good evening. You are watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman Television. First, the headlines. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq receives the credentials of a number of Their Excellencies, the ambassadors of friendly countries accredited to the Sultanate. Democrat Joe Biden secures victories in the blue wall battlegrounds of Wisconsin and Michigan that narrows President Donald Trump's path to the White House. And the Royal Hospital starts using BK5000 ultrasound device in the liver and pancreatic surgery unit to diagnose liver tumors. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq received separately credentials of a number of Their Excellencies, ambassadors of friendly countries accredited to the Sultanate at Al Baraka Palace this morning. His Majesty has received credentials of His Excellency Mana Bili Shugoguli, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa, President of the Republic of South Africa, accredited to the Sultanate. His Excellency Abdullah Abbas Kilima, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of His Excellency Dr. John Magufuli, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, accredited to the Sultanate. His Excellency Thomas Frederick, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of His Excellency Dr. Frank Walter Steinmeier, President of the Federal Republic of Germany, accredited to the Sultanate. His Excellency Dmitry Dugatkin, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of His Excellency Vladimir Putin, President of the Russian Federation, accredited to the Sultanate. Excellency Ambassador Anwar Abdelhalimov, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of His Excellency Dr. Shaukat Mirzayev, President of the Republic of Uzbekistan, accredited to the Sultanate. His Excellency Swat Kyaw Sok, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of His Majesty Maha Vajir Alongakorn, King of the Kingdom of Thailand, accredited to the Sultanate. His Excellency Kadam Shah Shahim, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of His Excellency Dr. Muhammad Ashraf Ghani, President of the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan, accredited to the Sultanate. And Her Excellency Erwit Muhammad Yassin, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Her Excellency Sahla Waraq Zodi, President of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, accredited to the Sultanate. During the side meetings with His Majesty Sultan Haytham, Their Excellencies the Ambassadors conveyed greetings of the leaders of their countries along with their wishes for good health, happiness and long life to His Majesty the Sultan and for the Omani people further progress and prosperity under the wise leadership of His Majesty, expressing their honor and great happiness to present their credentials before His Majesty. They affirmed that they would do their utmost to advance their country's relations with the Sultanate in various fields to serve the common interests of the Omani people and the peoples of their countries. His Majesty the Sultan welcomed the ambassadors, thanking their leaders for their greetings and good wishes and assuring them that they would receive all support from His Majesty, the government and the Omani people to facilitate the performance of their duties. The credentials presentation ceremony was attended by His Excellency the Minister of Interior, His Excellency the Foreign Minister, His Excellency the Head of the Royal Protocols, Commander of the Royal Guard of Oman, and the military ADCs of His Majesty the Sultan. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq sent a cable of condolences to His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, President of the United Arab Emirates, on the death of Sheikha Maryam bint Hamdan bin Zayed bin Khalifa Al Nahyan. His Majesty the Sultan also sent a cable of condolences to His Excellency Dr. Nguyen Phu Trong, President of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam, on the victims of the floods that hit a number of Vietnamese cities. And His Majesty sent a cable of greetings to His Excellency Wavel Ram Kalawan, President of the Republic of Seychelles, on electing him as President of the Republic. Democrat Joe Biden was pushing closer to the 270 Electoral College votes needed to carry him to the White House, securing victories in the blue wall battlegrounds of Wisconsin and Michigan and narrowing President Donald Trump's path. With just a handful of states still up for grabs, Trump tried to press his case in court in some key swing states. It was unclear if any of his campaign's legal maneuvering over balloting would succeed in shifting the race in his favor. 2 days after Election Day, neither candidate has amassed the votes needed to win the White House, but Biden's victories in the Great Lakes states left him at 264, meaning he was one battleground state away, any would do, from becoming president-elect. Trump, with 214 electoral votes, faced a much higher hurdle. To reach 270, he needed to claim all 4 remaining battlegrounds, which are Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, and Nevada. With millions of votes yet to be tabulated, Biden already had received more than 71 million votes, the most in history. It was unclear when a national winner would be determined after a long, bitter campaign dominated by the coronavirus and its effect on Americans and the national economy. The pandemic has killed more than 233,000 people in the United States. Vote counting continued in Atlanta, Georgia today, one of a handful of states still yet to be declared following the polling day. There was a narrow margin between Trump and Biden in Georgia, a close race in a state that has not backed a Democrat for president since 1992. There is no automatic recount, but a candidate can request one if the margin is within 0.5%. Unlike in previous years, states were contending with an avalanche of mail ballots driven by the global pandemic. Every election, what's reported on election night are unofficial results, and the counting of votes extends past election day. So in 2020, with so many mail ballots and close races in key states, counting every vote was expected to take more time. Protesters gathered outside the Clark County Elections Office in Las Vegas last night. Count every vote, as unofficial results from Nevada showed Democrat Joe Biden with a narrow lead over President Donald Trump in the state's vote totals. The top elections officials in Nevada's most populous county said more results will be released today that include mail-in ballots received on Tuesday and Wednesday. The number of outstanding mail ballots is difficult to estimate because Nevada opted to send ballots to all 1.7 million active registered voters this year due to the pandemic, and it's hard to predict how many will choose to return them. At stake in Nevada are 6 electoral votes. All mail ballots are due November the 10th if postmarked by Election Day. Still to come in our news bulletin. The water transmission project between governorates of North and South Batna reaches 15% completion rate. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. The Royal Hospital started using the BK5000 ultrasound device in liver and pancreatic surgery unit to diagnose tumors in liver. More details in the following report.
A latest medical technology that facilitates conducting complex surgeries is now available at the liver and pancreatic surgery unit at the Royal Hospital. This technology is the BK5000 ultrasound machine, which is donated by Omantel as part of its social responsibility.
On behalf of my colleague in hepatobiliary surgery in Royal Hospital, we are appreciating this offer from Omantel that supply us with this BK5000 ultrasound. It is the latest in its series, and it is considered as a cornerstone in the temporary liver surgery. It provides that on-time ultrasound image of liver surgery while doing the operations.
This ultrasound machine is the first of its kind in the Sultanate. It is of high accuracy to locate tumors that cannot be diagnosed or seen via traditional methods.
Liver surgery is considered one of the surgeries that need experts and need also fine techniques. And one of the basic principles in liver surgery that we need to localize the tumor and localize how much liver tissues will be available after surgery. So that is very important to look for the vital structures that traveling in the surgery, blood vessels going in and going out, and bile duct going in and out for surgery in the liver, so that we can avoid any damage for the remnant surgery. This tool is providing us a map about this, where the tumor locating and what is the relation with the vital structures.
This device also includes transducers, which are ideal for the open surgeries and the minimally invasive surgeries. BK5000 ultrasound system is a state-of-the-art facility. It will greatly assist the surgical team in the Royal Hospital with real-time guidance in the operations room. From the Royal Hospital, Salih Abu Khalfan al-Rahbi, Muscat.
Within the context of consolidating efforts to achieve a unified health strategy and enhancing and implementing Gulf joint work, the Sultanate participated in the 6th meeting of Their Excellencies the Ministers of Health at Gulf Cooperation Council countries and Yemen. The meeting discussed the completion of international competitiveness requirements and ways to enhance strategic partnership. It also dealt with issues related to non-custom barriers and efforts exerted by GCC countries to face COVID-19 pandemic at all levels. The Sultanate's delegation was chaired by His Excellency Dr. Ahmed bin Mohammed Al-Saidi, Minister of Health. The Ministry of Health announced that the total number of COVID-19 cases registered in the Sultanate reached 117,167. The ministry also reported that total fatalities reached 1,286. The total recovered cases reached 107,368, while the recovery rate climbed to 91.6%. During the past 24 hours, 39 people were hospitalized, taking the total number of inpatients to 353 cases, of which 145 cases are in intensive care units. Approving the establishment of interstate tourism platform among Gulf Cooperation Council countries and the formation of a team to discuss the impact of corona pandemic on the tourism sector in these countries were topics discussed by the fifth meeting of Their Excellencies GCC ministers responsible for tourism. The event was held through video conferencing. The meeting stressed the need to enhance the joint cooperation in the field of tourism in GCC countries, activate the integration to upgrade the sector to facilitate the interstate tourism and benefit from experiences in aspects related to the development of tourism. A proposal about GCC tourism guidebook and another on Gulf tourism visa. The meeting was chaired from the Sultanate's side by His Excellency Salim bin Mohammed Al Mahrouqi, Minister of Heritage and Tourism. The Central Bank of Oman called on all citizens and residents to exercise caution and not to transfer or collect money through services provided by individuals and commercial shops that are not licensed by the central bank, such as the bKash. Dealing in these activities is considered illegal and a criminal act according to the Omani law. People dealing with such activities are exposed to fraud and money loss risks. The water transmission project between governorates of North and South Batina reached 15% completion rate. The new strategic project will secure potable water in the two governorates by overcoming terrain and geographical challenges to provide necessary drinking water in various areas in the two governorates. The 140-kilometer-long project takes into consideration population needs as well as the existing and future needs for more residential, commercial and industrial construction. The new project will be connected to the existing water grids in connection to the desalination plants in Ghobra, Barka and Suhar to meet any water shortage. The project is supervised by DM with an aim to promote water security in the area as part of the Oman Vision 2040 goals. The project is expected to be completed in the first quarter of 2022. This is the Sultanate of Oman Television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main headlines once again. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq receives the credentials of a number of Their Excellencies, the ambassadors of friendly countries accredited to the Sultanate. Democrat Joe Biden secures victories in the Blue Wall battlegrounds of Wisconsin and Michigan that narrows President Donald Trump's path to the White House. And the Royal Hospital starts using BK5000 ultrasound device in the liver and pancreatic surgery unit to diagnose liver tumors. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night.